engines are forgotten about. Engines like Edward don't think about it, but when it's brought up, he will change the conversation. Secrets are always something you should share when it's serious, but can make someone feel embarrassed when you tell another person. And asking what's happening can make someone feel sad.
Emily's secret.
On the island of Sodor, Gordon was waking up. Toby woke up pretty tired. Percy woke up not too much later, feeling very pleased. Percy was talking to Toby and Gordon when Emily woke up. But no one was paying attention to Emily. Everyone was paying attention to Spencer, the silver A4. He was getting ready to take 2 important passengers around the island. Uh-oh, Gordon said. What's up, Gordon? Asked Henry. But Gordon was too busy trying to stay away from his cousin hiding in a shed. Gordon had a secret he'd never told anyone, not even Spencer, not even me, the narrator. Emily noticed it was snowing, and she got worried. Soon, Gordon and Spencer were gone, and soon Toby too, leaving Tidmouth's sheds behind. Emily started to shake and quiver. Are you okay, Emily? Percy asked. Of course, I'm fine, Emily said. But you look sad, Thomas said in a sleepy voice. Fine, but I don't want to talk about it. It makes me feel silly and upset just thinking about it, Emily exclaimed. Oh, okay, said Percy. Emily was about to leave to the big station called Knapford when she got on the turntable. Edward spoke up. He told Emily she had to wear her snowplow. Emily tried to ignore Edward when the fart controller conveniently appeared. Ooh, sir! Ooh, you scared the fire out of my firebox, Emily said. Sorry, Emily, but before you go, you need to get your snowplow fitted by my order, the fart controller said. Emily was also a very obedient engine and would only take orders from the fat controller, so she had it fitted, but when they tried it on, it didn't fit, so Emily had to wait. But she was also a very impatient engine, so she told the fitters that she would come back after they found a good enough one. It was very snowy, and Emily was having problems puffing. The type of engine Emily was had 2 big driving wheels. The driving wheels are the wheels that make the engine propel itself forward. Most of the engines on the island of Sodor have all of their wheels as their driver wheels. So this meant Emily wasn't a very strong engine. She started to struggle up the hill. Why may this always happen? Maybe as I go down and give myself a faster start, maybe I can get up, Emily said. So she went back down to the foot of Gordon's Hill and back to Knapford and puffed away as fast as she could, which wasn't very fast. She tried to get more speed, but her driver wouldn't let her. He didn't want her to overheat. Emily had made it to the hill. She puffed very slowly. The snow was keeping her from getting grip on the rails. She was letting down sand, which helped her gain grip. At the bottom of the hill, a little snowdrift had been created, and Emily couldn't clear it without her snowplow. She screeched on her brakes and stopped just in time. Phew! Oh, that could have been worse, Emily said. But Doc was coming down the line right as Emily was backing up. She whistled to let the other engines know she was backing up. But Doc had the whistles too late and bumped into Emily. Oops. Oh dear, Doc said. Emily had very bad brakes and didn't slow down very quickly and hit the snowdrift and derailed, and it all happened at once. Said Emily. Yes, you could have, said a voice from Duck's cab. It was the fart controller, and he was more cross than cross. Emily slowly puffed back to the sheds. She shook back to the shed. All the engines were at Tidmouth's sheds that evening, but Thomas and Percy were going to take the mail. That meant that they were going to leave soon. So they wanted to ask Emily what that secret was. Emily was starting to shake and quiver as she did earlier. She looked towards the snow and the snowplow. Oh, okay, I guess you guys could know. The secret is that I think my snowplow makes it look silly, Emily explained. Same for me, Thomas muttered to himself. All the engines were surprised. Not even Edward understood the other older engine. Emily felt silly. She felt as silly as James's red paint of coat. As a member of Tidmouth's sheds, I'd say that we're never to speak of this secret. And Thomas and Percy left to fetch the mail trucks. Those silly steamies don't know what's coming for them. On the island of Sodor can be boastful to each other when one thinks they're right, even when they're not, which can make an engine feel bad about themselves. Emily and the Fish Train. One night on the island of Sodor, the engines were laughing at Emily for crashing into snow a few months ago. She didn't like that. She was redder than James's paint. All right, all of you, that's enough, said Emily. She had enough. Oh, Emily, started Gordon. Don't all Emily me, she said. Toby's driver had arrived not too much later. Come on, Toby, his driver said. We have to take that fish train that James won't take. James chuckled. Toby was tired. He wanted to sleep. I can take it, sir, said Emily. I'm not tired. The driver thought, are you sure? Of course. Later that night at the Duke and Duchess's home, Emily picked up some of the vans. I wonder why they're here, she thought. Sir? Yes, Emily. Why were the vans there? I don't know. I just know that they were there. Emily remembered what the engines had said about her and her brakes. It made her feel sad. She would end up picking up more vans and trucks at the other stations, but she couldn't get what they said off her mind, and she wasn't paying much attention to the track. It was getting darker, and Emily couldn't see a lot. Her light went out the day before. Station, Emily felt terrible. She was still upset about what the other engines had said about her. Toby's driver went to go grab a lamp. He walked away. Toby's driver walked back up to her. Why do you look so sad? He asked.
I'm sorry, Edward. This is all my
The engines were being rude and making jokes about the crash I had a few months ago, she argued. Oh, okay. Just calm down. He laughed. He hopped back into the cab. Emily's wheels started to slip across the wet track, and it made her feel worried. What she was still cross about what the other engines had said about her. She had completely lost her attention to the track and slid across the rails. She zoomed down the hill and raced around the bend. Whoa! Spencer yelled. He quickly switched on to another track. Whoa! Railroader! She was on the edge and the truck started pushing faster and faster and faster. There was a storm coming up and Emily couldn't stop. Help! She felt nice from her wheel, but the truck just kept on pulling and pushing and pulling and pushing. Her brakes were on and she was working hard. But she couldn't stop. She went round the bend and came off the rails. The driver and fireman had jumped clear. Some of the trucks were severely injured, and Emily had fallen in the water. The next morning, she was saved by Thomas and Percy. What happened? They asked. I was cross about what you and all the other engines had said about my crash, and I stopped paying attention and crashed. Hopefully you feel better soon, Emily, said Thomas. I'll take her to the works, Thomas, said Percy. Emily felt terrible. By the next week, Emily was back in steam, and everyone was talking about her crash. But she wasn't going to let her bother her. She didn't want to crash again.
Mavis the quarry engine is a diesel that never stops working, but when things get tough, she'll always be helpful. Mavis's Big Adventure. Once I got to leave the quarry to deliver one thing, but I never get any more chances like that. Never! She clawed. Diesel 10 didn't know how to answer. He felt bad for her. Mavis felt bad for herself. The next morning, Mavis requested that Thomas work in the quarry for the day. The Fat Controller said he was much too busy. So the next day, she requested that Percy work in the quarry. Percy was happy to, but he would be taking trains the whole day and into the night with the mail train. The next morning, Mavis felt like crying. She was so sad. She sat there for a long time, until she had an idea. Diesel 10, she called. But she didn't get an answer. Oh, right. He's taking a train, she groaned. That's when she got another idea. She snuck out of the quarry. But she felt like she had forgotten something. The workmen were cross, throwing fists in the air. She raced along the line. She'd stopped at Knapford. She'd been there before. That's when she remembered the docks. So she went to Titmouth to get some help. The engines would be helpful. But when she got there was a problem. The Fat Controller was there. She didn't want to be seen by the Fat Controller or she'd be in trouble. So she oiled onto the middle point, hoping it would get there. She tore 2 sets of points. On the second set, there was even a branch line as well. So Mavis headed there. The Diesel had finally made it to a hill? Mavis was confused. But she still went down it. Whee! Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! She yelled. She turned a corner and saw the docks. She gasped, "Whoa!" She oiled down to the docks. She saw Salty. He was chilling in the seaside air when he saw Mavis. "Hello, Salty," she yelled to Salty. "Hello," he yelled back. "Welcome to the docks." Mavis looked around. It was much different than the last time she was there. "Whoa," she exclaimed. "How do you like the upgrade?" Salty asked. "Impressive," Mavis replied. But Mavis wanted to explore more, so she went back to the main line. As she oiled down the main line, she saw Thomas. "Honk, honk," Mavis honked. Thomas came to a screeching stop. "Mavis?" Thomas said in surprise. But she went on. She passed by a siding where her driver could have filled her tanks. That's when she stopped moving fast out of nowhere and came to a slow and stopped. "Oh no, I knew I forgot something," she cried. So she sat there and mourned for a while. Soon Mavis had fallen asleep, and her driver told the news to the Fat Controller over the phone. So the Fat Controller sent an engine to go save Mavis and bring her back to the quarry. The next morning, Mavis was back in the quarry again. The Fat Controller walked up to Mavis so he could talk to her. "Mavis, I noticed that you came out of the quarry when you weren't exactly meant to. But since you don't go very far, I've extended your schedule for you to bring trains for the docks and back," he said. And Mavis felt great. Rosie. After the Fat Controller did some negotiating with one of the other controllers on the other railway, he had gotten a new engine named Rosie. She was a tad small for a mainland engine anyway, so the Fat Controller knew her new home would be a perfect fit. At the docks, she met Salty. "Ahoy, matey, what brings you to the docks?" I'm a new engine, from the other railway, of course." "Oh, the Fat Controller should be here soon." "The Fat Controller? Isn't it a bit rude to call someone obese?" "Obese? What does that mean?" "Fat, kinda like you," Rosie chuckled. "I'm not fat. Am I?" Then the Fat Controller finally arrived in Percy. He got out of Percy's cab to talk to Rosie. "Hello, you must be the new engine, Rosie, is it?" "Yes, sir. My name is Rosie, sir." "I'm the controller of the railway. You can refer to me as Sir or the Fat Controller. I'm widely known as the Fat Controller, unfortunately enough, but there's that, I suppose." There was a very long silence. was he, by the way? I know you didn't ask, but it was getting kind of awkward.
Well, I'll drive you to Knapford so you can meet some of the drivers and the firemen.
Rosie was waiting patiently in the yard for some news when a diesel named Diesel came to the yard. He was sent there after some very bad things he had did. "Hello," Rosie said to him happily. But Diesel went by without responding. Rosie was just trying to make friends and meet people. But Rosie knew she couldn't do that if no one would talk to her. Later in the day, Thomas came to the yard to collect Gordon's coaches. He was very cross. Rosie watched as he brought the coaches back to Knapford Station. She had thought him the greatest and grandest engine she had ever seen. So she followed him. The Fat Controller was about to tell Rosie the news, but he had watched her leave. At Knapford, Thomas rammed the coaches into Gordon. Thomas thought this was very fun and cheeky. "Ugh," Gordon groaned. Thomas reversed back to the yard. Rosie followed him closely. Thomas collected Annie and Clarabelle. "Good morning, Thomas. You're early today," Annie said. "I'm always early." "Never mind that. We need to hurry." That's when Thomas saw Rosie. "Who's that?" he thought. So he puffed up to Rosie. "Hi there. My name's Rosie. Yours?" Rosie asked. My name is Thomas," Thomas wheezed. "You're a good-looking engine. Has anyone told you that before?" Rosie said quietly. No, but thanks, I guess." Thomas felt very awkward. "Would you like to be my friend?" Rosie asked him. Thomas stopped paying attention as he had to go. "I'd love to be your friend, but I'm very busy and I don't have time for engines like you," Thomas remarked. And he puffed away angrily. He seemed so nice, Rosie thought. Thomas was talking to Annie and Clarabelle about Rosie. "I'm not fond of engines like her, but she seems so nice," Annie said. "You should say sorry. What you did wasn't very good of you," Clarabelle argued. You should say sorry, they said. Thomas didn't want to, but they were right. Thomas stopped at the station to collect some passengers, but Rosie wasn't paying attention and rammed into him. "Ah!" the coaches yelled. "Ouch! Who was that?" Thomas said. "It's me! Rosie, leave me alone! I have work to do, and now my coaches are derailed," Thomas said madly. But Thomas, I just want... "Well, you aren't going to get anything now! Go back to the yard!" And so Rosie sulked away, very sadly. In the yard, the Fat Controller waited for Rosie. But the rest of this conversation is for another day. Thomas and Rosie. "In a little bit, Rosie. I'm going to have you and Thomas pull the train." "Sir, I can't be with Thomas. I messed up just a second ago, and he doesn't like me anymore," Rosie said to a cross Fat Controller. "Don't listen to him. I'm already in cahoots with Thomas. I don't want that for you either," the Fat Controller said. "I need you to find him for me and bring him back here." "Yes,
Sir, Rosie replied. Thomas was once again on his way to finish off his day. As he reached Farquhar Station, he saw a red blob. He couldn't tell what it was, or if it was anyone, who it was, when it made shape. Rosie, Thomas muttered to himself. Thomas! No! But no! Just let me! No! No! And no! I don't want to hear it! Please, just listen, will you? Rosie yelled. Ugh, fine, what do you want? The fat controller. Okay, I know. And Thomas puffed away cheekily. He's so argumentative, Rosie groaned. And Rosie followed him back to Knapford Station. As Thomas puffed back into the yard, Rosie appeared around a corner. Okay, Thomas, what I was trying to... Thomas, there you are. Thomas felt relieved as he knew the Fat Controller was going to tell him that he could go back to the sheds. You and Rosie are going to double-header train. But... Rosie stared at him menacingly. Thomas sighed. They were coupled up to the trucks. I'm sorry about this morning. I just wanted to see if you would like to be my friend, Rosie said to Thomas. I guess I'll accept your apology, but I have some rules for being my friend. So the next day, Rosie tried to do exactly what Thomas said he liked in a good friend. And there are your trucks, sir. Thank you, Thomas said. Then out of nowhere, the Fat Controller arrived. Thomas the Tank Engine, the Fat Controller yelled. You have been a very bad engine, making Rosie do what she wants, left and right, leading her to not helping in the yard at all. It's time I've broken it to you, Thomas. I've been talking with the other railways to see if they would like to take you. Most railways are scrapping engines like you, the Fat Controller said. But, sir, Rosie watched as he got into more trouble. If Rosie were to be his friend, she knew what a good friend would do. Sir, please stop, sir! Rosie, quiet! No, I won't be quiet. Thomas is my friend, and a very useful engine indeed. He doesn't deserve this. Please, sir, stop, sir. Rosie paused for a little. I'll go. Leave me for scrap. Thomas gasped. I haven't done a single thing you wanted me to do. I'm very useless. Just stop, please.
Rosie,
stop. You two, quiet. They both hushed. I'm not scrapping any of you, but if you can both live up to what you've said, I'll reconsider. But your careers are, he tried not to laugh, on the line. So both of the engines went back to work. They, Thomas and Rosie, finally established themselves as good friends. Emily's Challenge. One day, the Fat Controller was high on funds and had the greatest idea to buy another engine. This engine's name was Molly. She was a very similar engine to another engine named Emily. The Fat Controller suspected them to like each other because they were so similar. Hey, it's me, Molly! The Fat Controller walked away. Emily waited for the right time. Hey, you, over there, drop the sweet talk. I already know how you'll be. A problem? Molly looked around. Oh, girl, you know I will. I'll create as many problems as possible between us and the whole island. Not if I stop... Oh, you're gone now.
Molly ran into Rosie. Make sure you stay away from a green engine named Emily. She's a real troublemaker, she said to Rosie. A Sterling, in fact. I've heard those Sterlings before, never about them being bad, though. Just how beautiful and gracious they are. Well, she is the polar opposite. Molly spotted Emily. I must get going now, goodbye. And she proudly puffed away. What in the world did that yellow banana tell you? To stay away from a green Sterling, which seems to be you, which also probably means I should go. Ah! She watched as Rosie skedaddled away. Well then, Emily said, I've just got to step up my game as well. Molly and Emily went around gossiping fake news about each other to the engines around Sodor. They met about the Fat Controller. Both tired and panting, the Fat Controller spoke.
I want you guys to become friends, because you two are so similar. So, I'll have you two take a long, long train.
They weren't pleased at all. After they finished the train, Thomas went by Molly. Thomas looked her up and down. Molly, he said under his breath. Hi! But Thomas went by without even thinking of her. Oh no, Molly said. Now nobody will talk to me because of that two-wheeler. Who's she calling two-wheeler? Emily said angrily. I have an idea. Emily knew she had to attempt to show her up. So the next day, Emily gathered too many trucks for her. She knew it, but to show up Emily, she would have to pull them. What does I pull all of these trucks? I know you can never do that. Do that. Molly attempted to double her trucks. An hour later, Emily watched as she struggled to move them. I want these trucks just Later, Diesel set them up both with too many trucks. They pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled. Then the Fat Controller appeared out of nowhere. Both Molly and Emily were caught off guard and spooked. Molly popped a piston and Emily damaged her wheel. Diesel laughed. Quiet! The Fat Controller boomed. Ugh, whatever.
What are you two doing, pulling that many trucks? You two are being quite silly today.
We're sorry, sir. We were competing to see who was better. It's truly my fault. I was trying to act cool and troublesome because of how much better you Sterlings are compared to me. I was ready for a cocky imbecile, but instead I can tell deep down that you are a sweet engine. Emily didn't accept the apology, but she promised that she would be a little bit nicer. You're lucky I'm so nice. The way you've been acting today, engines don't usually get my sorrow, Emily said to Molly. Thank you for being so nice, Molly said.
Molly and Rosie's day out. Some days at Knapford Yard it's very empty, and some days it's packed to the brim. But when you're there when it's very full, you have to be careful, because anytime you turn a corner, you can almost get rammed into by an engine that's trying to collect trucks or coaches. But even when the yard is empty, the yard's engines have to stay. One day, the fat controller arrived to the yard with 2 little engines. He went to go talk to Diesel for a second and began to walk back. He waited and waited till he began to speak. As you, Rosie, have been working hard, he began. And you, Molly, have been doing a great job with taking trains to the docks and other places. Made me think you two deserve a bit of a break. Yes. I brought over these two, and they are going to help manage the yard while you two go on your travels, he said. Go ahead, you two. Molly and Rosie were excited. So they raced to Knapford to meet some of the commuters getting ready to board the express in Thomas's branch line. They passed by Mervyn, and they travelled along the main line. They came to a stop at Knapford station. Whoa, it looks like they're testing lights, said Molly. That looks so cool, said Rosie back. And they headed back to the Knapford yard. When they arrived, Diesel wasn't there. Rosie, when she came to a stop, looked long and hard for Diesel. But she couldn't find him. Where could he have gone? He was to stay here, said Rosie. Maybe he went. Oh, I don't know. He's left. We have to find him. And they left to search for Diesel. They both ended up back at Knapford station. I've looked everywhere, said Molly disappointedly. Oh, don't worry, Molly. We'll find him, said Rosie encouragingly. Oh, okay, I hope so, said Molly worriedly. So they left to go look for Diesel. They finally arrived back at the yard. Do you think he's left, like, the island? That could be true. I hope he didn't, though. We'll be in big trouble, said Rosie without confidence. Well, don't worry. We'll find him, replied Molly. I hope. That's when the fat controller came back with Diesel. He walked out. You will two stay in the yard. I'll give you 5 more chances. You're lucky I'm being nice, but your help in the yard is keeping the railway from crashing, said the fat controller unbelievably. Please be good, and he walked away crossly. Woo! Rosie reached up to Diesel. Where'd you go? Into no engines land. Now leave me alone, said Diesel crossly. I went to the quarry, but Diesel ignored her. How we supposed to do anything to keep an eye on Diesel if those new guys won't do anything? You talking to me? Oh yes, I'm talking to you. But the engine didn't mind and went back to its work. Anyway, the only way we're going to be able to keep it in our sight is by staying here. I guess there goes our days out, said Rosie sadly. No, we've just got to make sure that those lazy engines over there actually do their job, said Molly proudly. The next morning, Rosie gave jobs to the engines. Watch Diesel over there, and make sure those trucks also over there. Well, you know, Rosie said to them awkwardly. Me and Molly will be out again. Don't want Diesel to be out again too. Oh, whatever, said the engines. Diesel rolled his eyes. And Molly and Rosie rolled away happily.
Mavis and Diesel 10. Mavis and Diesel 10 are good friends and would hate to be separated. And when they are, they're alright, but it can lead to a low in their day. Good morning, Mavis, said Diesel 10. I see you've woken up. Oh, good morning, Diesel 10. Oh, have you already taken your first train? Asked Mavis. Yes, I did, but I was late. You were supposed to get the trucks from the quarry, so I ended up taking double my load. Sorry, Mavis said solemnly. It gets lonely when I'm alone. Do you think the fat controller can decrease your hours? Yes, but that means I'll have a heavier load, Diesel 10 replied. Yes, I know, Mavis told him, but I'm tired of being alone. I can always go down to Knapford Yard and ask Diesel if he could come back for a while so we could be back at the same time. Technically, yes, but that's wrong. But then Diesel stared at them. What are you doing here? Haven't you been kicked out? I was let out, said Diesel. Anyway, I've got an idea. Molly? Hide me! Yelled Diesel. He backed up and hid behind Diesel 10. Is Diesel here? Asked Mavis. Nope, haven't seen him for months, Diesel 10 said awkwardly. I don't even remember Diesel too much. I thought so. Anyway, no, not at all, said Mavis calmly. Alright, 'cause he escaped from the yard. Thanks for your help. And she left. Woo! Too close, Diesel groaned. Me and Diesel 10 have to go, said Mavis. I'll gather your trucks, Diesel said kindly. Oh, thanks, Diesel, said Diesel 10. So Diesel went to collect their trucks. And they oiled off back to front. Mavis oiled to drop off some rocks from the quarry. And Diesel 10 headed to the seaside. As the day progressed, Mavis didn't think that this was helping their problem. I've seen Diesel 10 even less today. Maybe this wasn't a good idea in the first place.
Hi, Mavis.
Mavis sighed.
Dang it, I missed Mavis. She probably wouldn't want to respond to you anyway, Henry. Yes, well, I'm actually a nice person, I'm not you. Slow down! Anyway, I must get going. Goodbye.
Oh, this time I won't stall.
Watch me, Henry.
Once Mavis had done her last load of the day, she was sad and Diesel wasn't there anymore and she felt worried. A few hours later, Diesel 10 worked his way into the quarry. He came to a stop. It's nice to see you again. I haven't seen you all day, said Mavis. She came to a stop. And we've ended much earlier than usual. I don't know why I've been wanting more work. I'm exhausted. Plus the fuel pump near the beach was not working, said Diesel 10. I got worried. Well, we get to meet up at the same time, but I don't get to see you even more. I get to see you less, Mavis said sadly. I guess I just have to appreciate what I have and just not want more. Well, I think Diesel learned a lesson of not sneaking out too, Diesel 10 laughed. And they both laughed, as tired friends.
Roll the credits!
A Thomas the Tank Engine fan production.